This is my absolute favorite yoga pose. You can even start this pose without being warmed up. You can go right into it. I'm talking about butterfly. This is a great yoga pose. This is something you can do anytime for pretty much any element. I'm going to go ahead and break it down why this posture is so important, why it's something you should take advantage of. And this posture is safe for beginners. It's good for experts. Anyone can do it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the diagram here. And you can see as we full screen this, that is really a great pose. Now, what you're going to see with the model is that the arms are extended forward. Now, this is something you're going to see a lot in yin yoga. When you're doing a posture like this, you can see that she's really elongating her back. This is a great opportunity to get oxygen in there, a good opportunity for her to breathe, he or she, whoever's doing this posture. Look at the feet. You can see how the feet are touching. Sometimes that's not something that you can do, particularly if you need to do a restorative version of this posture. Then sometimes you're not going to be touching like this, which is absolutely acceptable and absolutely normal. It really just comes down to your comfort level. So don't let what a model is doing really dictate how you do this posture. Again, if you look at the hands, you can see how the fingers are spread. You can see that this person is really enjoying the stretch, but giving a lot of arm elongated strength here. This is a good way to get oxygen in the arms and in the shoulder girdle as well. Now with the head, what I like to do is let the head just gradually sink and fall to a comfortable level. This is a great opportunity for you to do that and really get oxygen and relaxation for your neck. With the hips, this is a good way to start to loosen your lower back. If you can loosen up your hips here, there's a good opportunity to loosen up your mid back, your upper back, your shoulders will go as well. So effectively, you are working everything, but particularly if you have back pain, this is going to be a pose that you probably are going to love. With these type of poses, it's really important that you keep in mind that they are beginner friendly, but you still can overdo it. So one thing I always ask myself when I'm doing a posture like this, particularly if I'm doing it in yin yoga where I'm holding these postures 3 to 5 minutes, is that am I at my limit? If you're at your limit and you take these deep breaths, then you're going to feel a flush of oxygen that might be so overwhelming you might actually feel sensations of pain. That's a good indicator that you're probably overdoing it a bit. So you might feel better to back off ever so gently and very slightly and slowly. That's something that could be really beneficial for you. So keep in mind, if you're too far into the posture and too far into the stretch, when you breathe, if the breath feels overwhelming and you start feeling sensations of pain, it's okay to back off. That deep breath is going to move the oxygen throughout your body pretty well for you. If you are somewhat in the posture at all, you're going to feel a good amount of oxygen flow and get your circulation up. So you really don't have to extend forward that much. So a lot of people want to extend forward that much because it feels good. They just like to stretch. Some people just really enjoy stretching out to the end of their ability and seeing where their compression is going to kick in. When we talk about compression, we're talking about the point where they can no longer go forward any further, whether that is due to skeleton, due to some sort of muscle development or abnormity, whatever the case is, no amount of yoga usually can fix that. That is going to be the point of no going further. So some people really do want to get a nice stretch to compression. I do. I like to stretch out as much as I can, but keep in mind, if you're going to touch on compression, that's usually pretty safe. If you're going to be there for extended amounts of time with deep breathing, I would definitely do a couple things. First, I want to really make sure that I'm warmed up for it. Secondly, you're going to want to back off just enough so that when you take these deep breaths, it's not causing pain. When you're doing elongated postures like this, like yin yoga, what you're doing is you're creating hyaluronic acid, which is lubricating your joints, your ligaments, your bones. It's really helping you out so you can take these deep stretches. This is really beneficial that we've seen with people who are in pain, particularly chronic pain, because this is a way for them to get oxygen and circulation to those regions. Now, if you're someone who isn't used to these type of stretches, you might want to ease in going into it. If you're someone that just likes to do vinyasa yoga, which is pretty much a movement on every breath, then you could touch and hang out here a little further. That said, keep an eye on it. You don't want to stretch too much. Granted, you're only going to be there for a breath. It's really not going to be too impactful for you. as long as you're being smart and listening to your body. Obviously, you don't want to go too far. It is a little easier, though, on your body to touch the hot stove versus to keep your hand over it. So what I always like to say is listen to your body, understand that the breath is going to give you more overwhelming sensation maybe than you expect, and also understand it's okay to pull back and take it slow, because really you don't have to be that far into the stretch to feel all the benefits of the stretch, which is really interesting, particularly in yin yoga. Now in hatha yoga, it's going to be a little bit of a mix of in between. Hatha yoga, you're going to hold these postures for about 5 to 15 breaths. So let's talk a little bit about vinyasa yoga. Vinyasa yoga, obviously, you're going to hold for a breath. So that's going to be anywhere from 5 seconds to 10 seconds to sometimes 2 seconds. Now, yin yoga, you're going to create hyaluronic acid. It takes about 2 to 3 minutes to create this in yin yoga. Ideally, we say 3 minutes. Myofascial release, they talk a little bit more about 2 minutes, but ideally 3 to 5 minutes to create the hyaluronic acid being in this posture. So you're going to want to be here anywhere from 5 to 8 minutes, maybe even longer. Now with hatha yoga, you're looking at 30 seconds to 2.5 minutes. So you might have a timer at the studio. You might be using your own internal timer. You might just be going off a feel, but hatha yoga is going to kind of touch on it. It's a really great way to get your yoga in, to be honest. Hatha is really good. We call it the balancing yoga for a reason. This is going to be something that's going to help balance the hot and the cold. It does a lot of different properties at the same time when you're doing your hatha yoga. But if I was injured and I really wanted to get the deepest form of the stretch, I would probably do it in yin. Now, let's say you're in a lot of pain. We're not talking about injured and recovery. We're talking about specifically pain management. Then you're going to want to do this a restorative style. So you can see the model here is doing this as a yin style. They're actually working, doing a lot of load. If you're doing this restorative style, you actually would have your feet up, your legs up. We're going to demonstrate this in another video. And you're going to be going as passive as possible, kind of going limp into the posture. When you do it that way, it's going to be really easy for you to relax your sacrum and coccyx. Then your lumbar spine, thoracic and cervical spine can relax as well. You're going to see your shoulders relax, your neck and your head. And it's a really good way for you to increase circulation and also help out some of these ailments. This is something I suggest big time with sciatica. I often suggest this with any sort of back pain. This is probably the safest posture that you can do if you're doing it restorative. You don't need to be warmed up for it. You don't even need to have loose hamstrings. You can go right into it. Use lots of props if you're going to be doing this restorative style, and you will be set. So hopefully these tips can help you out. I really hope that you take from this the idea that butterfly is a safe and effective pose for you.